Hello and welcome everybody to House Rivalries Season 1 EU Edition. My name is Wita, and today I will be joined by Necra and Run on the Analyst Dusk, and later Greenship and Bobson will be taking you through Game 1. Say hi, Necra and Run.
Hello.
Hello.
And in case you're not familiar with the event itself, we'll be running 12 teams through a Swiss-style format until into a top 6 playoffs, which will be taking place in the last weekend of February. The event will be live every Saturday, February 6 p.m. CET. It's best out of 5 conquests with 1 ban, and should be if you want to support the event, there's a GoFundMe. And if you want to know all the 12 teams in the event, you will be looking at an exclamation mark bracket in chat, and you'll see some of the teams are Gamers Origin, Nordevent Ends, Helsinki Reds, and Interpreted Fox. So today's lineup, the first match we have is Ents versus Nordevent, and the lineups for Ents and Nordevent are Hunter, Priest, Paladin, and Rogue, and it's an exact mirror lineup in terms of archetype. So it's Secret Hunter, Mind Blast Priest, even Paladin, and Art Rogue. And both priests has been banned, so someone asked me explain why to me.
Well, first of all, when we look at the priest decks, since they are both Mind Blast, we know that the Dustbreaker play on 4 tends to really kill an aggro lineup. It's the only control deck in the lineups themselves, and so both teams decided to go ahead and ban for that reason.
So in the odd rogue list, there are quite a few texts. One of the things that I'm seeing that stands out to me the most is the Chief Inspector versus the Captain Greenskin. Chief Inspector being run for Ensign, Greenskin for Nordevent. Why are these texts in there? Necra, check with that.
Well, I like Captain Greenskin because it's just a little bit more of an aggressive card, and you can do a lot of just very interesting things with it. I can't really speak too much to the other cards. Maybe Run, you have a little bit more insight on that one.
Yeah, I think Chief Inspector is actually a great tech here. They knew that they wanted to lead the hunter up, and by doing so, they knew that they needed to be able to clear out those secrets, which can deal damage to their board, can give them minions, all of those kind of things. Wandering Monster can high roll. By getting rid of that, it helps keep them in control of the board. And the Chief Inspector is no piddly. I believe it's a 4/6 stat line, so it's a nice minion, and to be able to get rid of secrets to put on the board. So
yep. Sticking with the rogues, we have Double Argent Squire for Nordevent, while we have an Edwin and a Crystallizer, and what I've been doing names to be at that space. But quickly talk me through that one, Run.
I really like the inclusion here on this. It makes it a little bit more mid-range of a deck. When you go with the Edwin, you can get a giant body out there, or you can just get a decent sized body and give you a good minion to contest maybe smaller minions, get some value trades in, and be able to go face for a little bit of damage as well.
Yeah, and moving on to the even Paladin list, Necra, Berserker, a Money Berserker for Nordevent because of those, while there are 2 Ardent Protectors in the Ends list. Tell me why.
I think you just want to have a bigger body on board because those little minions can get taken out so quickly. Um, and you have divine shields, but those can get taken away very easily. So you're just looking to kind of have a little bit more sustain on board.
Also, we don't really have time. We're going to be running right into the game, so obviously we want to bring you to action as fast as possible. So run, winner, and score.
I think this is going to go 3-2, and I'm going to give it to Ents today. I think they've got some good techs in their lineup.
And Necra?
I just want to play devil's advocate, so I'm giving it to Nordevin. I'm going to say that it's going to be
Nice.
3-2 in Nordevin's favor, only because it's Hearthstone. Anything can happen.
True
I'm
story.
a big fan of Nordevent as a team. They have a lot of experience in team-based events, with the Tournament Liga being one of their main wins. So I don't know about you guys, but I'm ready to get into this. Green Sheep and Rebobson, take it away.
Hello everyone. It's me, Green Sheep, and I'm here with my good old friend Ribobson. And
Hello.
Just woke up, but I'm ready to cast some Hearthstone, and I'm very excited for this. 2 big names already, Norderwind versus Ents. How do you feel about this, Ribobson?
I am excited. Nordevent, of course, everybody knows. We're going to be seeing a Freddie B alongside, I believe, Yala and there was very briefly Huntrace, but there is no longer anymore. It is NTR, and then on Ensa we're going to be seeing No Rage, Kufton, and the Creeps. So some pretty big players, and I'm very excited to see. And of course, I'm excited to be casting a match which is going to be a series of aggro mirrors with you, Mr. Green Sheep. So I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions to make you sound smart.
Yeah, this is very perfect for me. What a great way to start. Exactly the same lineups. They both have Secret Hunter, they both have Even Paladin, they both have Odd Rogue. Games are going to go quick, and faces are going to get hit.
Yep, the face is going to be the place throughout this series, and I'm excited. I like to see really good players play aggro against each other because there's always some quite interesting, possibly even unintuitive decisions for a lot of players, and getting a kind of glimpse into the way people think while they're doing this is just always fantastic to see. Are there any of these particular matchups that you think could go are like really kind of pivotal for players to hit in the kind of conquest queue order?
I feel that Hunter probably has quite a good chance of getting a win through. The Paladin does pretty well against the Odd Rogue, especially with the oozes teched in. They can provide very pivotal swing turns. So I'm just about to say that the Odd Rogue might have the hardest time getting a win, since
Yep.
it doesn't have a great way of dealing with spellstones. Although Ents does have teched in the Chief Inspector, I'm not actually sure how vital that card will be, since most of the time the secrets come down on turn 2 and 3, and you can choose not to attack the face and wait for the Chief Inspector, but you're really relinquishing a lot of damage going to face by not attacking that way. So I'm just gonna say Rogue probably has the hardest time out of the 3 decks getting a win. So
Yeah,
whoever gets the Rogue win through will probably win the series.
yeah, I think I would agree with that. And we're getting into game 1, and we're going to see Nordavind on the Even Paladin first, and we're going to see Ents on their Secret Hunter first. Nordavind start off with a hand completely full of 2-drops, which is going to be pretty useful. And Ensa do crucially pick up the Spellstone, and do have 1 secret to set it off, but also have a couple of pretty awkward 5-drops to go alongside it with the Subject 9 and the Tundra Rhino. So Nordavind really have the better start of it here, I'd say.
Yeah, the Spellstone is definitely a really big card. I also really like Subject 9 as well with the Spellstone. You can just play out your spells early, you play your Spellstone now, then you need some reload, so you plop down the Subject 9, get all your secrets back out, and also thins your deck, which is the also nice part about the Subject 9.
Yeah, this
Well,
Subject
the
9
Paladin,
hunts.
a lot of 2-drops, as you would expect.
Yeah, the real power of Subject 9 Hunter is just how many cards it's able to draw. With the Double Master's Call, Subject 9, the Zul'jin, which replays the 2 Master's Calls, as well as Dire Frenzy, putting things back into the deck. It's just a ridiculous amount of cycle. And now Nordavind need to think about what could this secret be. Could be Wandering Monster, could be Explosive, or could be one of the minion attack secrets, as it is in fact a Snake Trap. But like I say, can't really afford to attack into it in this position in case it is that Wandering Monster, but they're going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a one of every one of them, and they just took the risk that it's only a Wandering Monster that punishes you 1 out of 5. We'll take the 20% that is the Wandering Monster. Unfortunately for them, it wasn't, so it also gives them a lot of information to what it is. They know it's not Wandering Monster or Explosive Trap now, so that they can narrow it down.
Yeah.
Or Freezing, yeah. They can narrow it down to Snake Trap and Venomous, which makes the future turns much more available to them.
Yeah, and now Ensa have to think about what they want to do leading up to this Spellstone. The Scavenging Hyena will just almost certainly die instantly. So maybe just a Diamole and a Hero Power, but that just doesn't feel fantastic.
Yeah, but if they do play both the Scavenging Hyena and the Diamole, it kind of forces Friday B and the Nordawind side maybe attack into it, because Scavenger Hiding is such a big threat. If they had like any cards like Spring Paw the following turn to just trade into the minions, then the Scavenger Hiding can grow to a large health total that it might be hard for Nordwind to actually deal with, because they actually don't have any real ways in the deck apart from like True Silver of killing high HP stuff.
Yeah, it looks like Nordavind have actually kind of made the read that it's going to be Snake Trap, and by attacking into the Hyena, making it 2-1, Wild Pyromancer and a coin on this turn is going to allow for a full board clear.
Yeah, it was very fortunate for it to be Snake Trap. If it was a Venomous Trap, then this Armani Berserker would probably have to trade into it. But in this case, it was just the Snake Trap, meaning the Armani Berserker can either take a value trade onto this 1/2 Diamol, or just hit face for 5.
Yeah, there is definitely an option to just hit face for 5, but when you leave a Diamol, you leave open the possibility of things like Raisin War, Dire Frenzy even. And what kind of secret do you think go for here? It's a choice between Noble Sacrifice or Auto Defense Matrix, I think. And the respect for the mole.
Yeah, I agree in this case. 5 damage is a lot, but moles can be kind of scary sometimes.
Moles can be scary. You heard it from a sheep.
Yeah, sometimes they just bore out on the ground and get you.
Spring out of the earth and just claw you in the eyes. And that was a really telling turn from Ensurf, who just did absolutely nothing on 4 mana.
So we have all these secrets, we have these Spring Paws, these Diamonds, the Candle Shots, but we just hero power past. So what's coming next? Most likely a Spellstone.
Yep, Spellstone, there's a good chance that at least one of the hero cards is in hand. And Nordavind just putting on the pressure by playing a Tempo Spellbreaker.
Yeah, silencing the Wild Pyromancer also means they can play Noble Sack next turn, and their minions won't die off, which is quite neat.
Yeah, very useful. And they can now contest the 3 Wolf Spellstone quite simply.
Yeah, but now that Nordwind's the aggressor, 19 HP already, if you play this Spellstone down, I wouldn't be surprised if Nordwind actually just went face with everything.
Yeah, would put that down to 5, but then it would be going into a potential Rexar turn, so
yeah, definitely.
I'm not sure how likely Nordwind would be to completely go alpha level there. But it's a possibility.
Yeah.
Because of course, even Paladin doesn't have that much direct damage available to it. Were they to go full face, once they do lose the board, there is just very few ways besides Avenging Wrath, of which there is 1 copy in this list, to just push that extra damage.
I feel like if they picked up maybe like a Blessing of Kings, they might just Blessing of Kings, play the Noble Sack down, hit full face, and then all the wolves would have to trade in, plus the Rexar, only leaving a 3/1 wolf alive, but we didn't see that pickup. I think we'll see probably a few trades here, but I don't think the Spellbreaker will be trading in. I'd like to see that go face, at least, along with the Hydrologist. Maybe the Amani Berserker and the Wild Pyromancer trades in. But
yeah, we could see potentially some kind of middle ground would be the Amani and the Pyromancer trade. Like Amani Pyromancer Hydrologist trade in, and then just the Wild Pyro Noble Sack to finish off the final wolf, as well as the Amani Berserker. Would mean that you have a minion which is resilient to the possible turn 6 Rexar, which will survive going into your next turn Spike Steed. Yeah, so that would be a 5/1 Amani. But looks like they're just going to go for a little bit of middle ground here. And
we're going
to go all face.
I love it.
Yep, face is the place.
This one choked, but
just one trade.
Connecting the Armani, that's 5 damage. 5 damage is a 3 health minion. That means you're missing 2 damage.
And of course, that's the Noble Sack 1 trade is a nod to Rexar with 2-3 health minions. It means something is going to survive for this Spike Steed. But that is, of course, on the presumption that their opponent has Rexar. We can see they don't.
Even if they had Rexar, with this play, at least one minion survives, meaning they can definitely spark a steed. Probably it would be the Spellbreaker.
Yeah. They've played around the absolute best case scenario for Ensa, and in doing so, they've really just kind of shut Ensa out of the game here.
Yeah,
I don't think there's
really nothing.
any way of stabilizing from this point. That Armani Berserker on the far left has just done an inordinate amount of damage, and all because it traded into that Diamol very early on.
So let's see if we can survive here. Candle Shot breaks down the Noble Sacrifice, the Tundra Rhino can clean up a minion, and then we have 2 more minions to trade, so I think technically we survive.
It is a very slight technicality.
We're on 5 HP. The Spike Ridge Steed. There's Tarum. Tarum's 6 damage. We're still 2 off, so most likely seeing the Spike Ridge Steed here. And as a hunter, there's no silencers in the deck. The only real way you break down a Spike Ridge Steed is by hunters marking the initial buffed version of the minion, and then how do you deal with the 2/6? You just have to hit through that as well. And since
So
you
with
don't have
the-
ward as a hunter, it's really hard to combat.
With the top deck of Flanking Strike, Ensa can survive for yet another turn. They can Hunter's Mark on the Spike Ridge Steeded Silverhand Recruit and Flanking Strike down the Armani Berserker, leaving 1 minion on the board.
Yeah, I guess you can also play the Scavenging Hyena as a meat shield. Try to block that 2 damage, but not sure if that'll work out.
Shield.
Yeah.
So this is survivable, but it is very, very temporary. Because Blessing of Kings up the top is always just lethal. Quality is not. But we could just see another Spike Ridge Steed and just hit him in the face.
Yeah.
Not
Why not? What can they really do? 1 card in hand. You put him on 2 damage, on 2 HP, I mean. You have a load of
Consecration is
lethal owls, you have Argent Commander, all the weapons, Valonir.
Avenging
Wrath.
Quality is also very good. There's a lot of ways to get lethal if this Spike Ridge Steed just goes right to the face. And given the lines of play we've seen from Nordovan so far, they're going to take it. Of course, there's still a 4/12 on the board here.
Yeah,
That
and,
needs to be dealt with at some point.
The only Hunter's Mark's been used on the previous turn, so we have to get through the Spike Ridge Steed the hard way. We just have to trade everything in, and even if you trade the Wolf in, Hyena only goes to a 4/2. We only have 8 power on the board, still missing 4 to even kill off the Steed. And then they have to deal with the 2/6 afterwards, which is threatening lethal as well.
Yeah, and because of the 1/1 which was played last turn with Hero Power, Freezing Trap is not an out either.
So it has to be Wandering Monster into some Divine Shield taunt for 3 mana. I don't think those exist.
They do not, I can confirm.
So I think that was quite futile. I think they're just maybe they're saying to themselves, maybe I've forgotten something. Maybe there is a 3 mana Divine Shield taunt, but unfortunately there isn't.
I know. I think because they played the secret there, they knew that they would have to attack with the 1/1 first because Freezing Trap was too big a punish. So if they got a taunt from the Wandering Monster, there was
a chance.
It would keep them alive.
Especially with no buff like Blessing of Kings or weapon in hand, then yeah, they would survive an extra turn. That's true.
Just one.
Yeah.
So that is going to be 1-0 with Ensa's Even Paladin getting through against the Secret Hunter. Meaning the Ensa still have their own Secret Hunter as well as an odd rogue to get through. Like we say, it's going to be a case of whether the odd rogue can get a win somewhere. And
although it wasn't a really explosive start from the Even Paladin side, it did enough. It had enough pressure, had all the 2 drops, and all they needed was for Ensa to skip a turn, which they did. Turn 4 was very pivotal. The Hero Power pass on 4 mana basically handed over a free turn for Norderwind, and they just applied the pressure. All the damage went face, and at the end it was basically Ensa playing on the defensive, and you can't really do that as an aggressive deck.
especially when you don't have Deathstalker Rexar. Yeah, so we're going back into game 2, and what we
It's the
have
reversal
is
now.
the reversal. Yeah, we can see an Even Paladin versus Secret Hunter, but this time Nordavind are the Secret Hunter, and Ensa are going to be on the Even Paladin. Now, looking at the opening hands, Ensa have Pyromancer Equality in their opening hand. That is fantastic for dealing with that Spellstone turn.
Hydrologist is also just a nice minion to play on turn 2.
It
Along with the
absolutely is.
Pyromancer, they all work pretty well with each other.
Yeah, Pyromancer Secret is always pretty nice, and Nordavind they have the Subject 9, if they want to hold on to that. They have the Animal Companion Crackling Rosemore, and One Room Monster is also just a pretty useful card in these aggressive mirrors, so there's some merit to all of these cards, and looks like they're just going to keep the Subject 9 and the Crackling Razormaw, and they get the Diamol Razormaw opener.
Yeah. As an aggro deck, you really want to go first, so Crackling Razormaw is a bit worse on turn 2, but if you hit that 1-drop, normally against the Even Paladin, the 1-drop always survives unless it's a Springpaw, so it has to be the Diamol. Unfortunately, they hit that because there's no real card from the Even Paladin side that actually kills off this Diamol. I don't think there's anything apart from quality.
No. Yeah,
but you're not a quality a Diamol, obviously. So that's out of the question.
Yeah, that would be probably an overreaction, I'd say. A quality to kill a single Diamol. And interestingly, Ensei did decide to throw away both the Pyromancer and the Equality, instead looking to go for a much more aggressive line to get themselves some more 2-drops.
Yeah, so they're not looking to beat the Spellstone, they're looking to beat the Spellstone, obviously, but they're trying to work around that by winning the early game board and making sure that they can trade into the Spellstone nicely, or just be in a position where they're already winning the game and they won't have to deal with the Spellstone because they're putting so much pressure.
They got the +1/+1 on the Diamond with the Razor, which was probably the single best outcome they could have had. Allows them to make a lovely value trade into the Hydrologist while still keeping 2 minions on board which don't die to this 1/1.
That Pyromancer is quite a nice pickup though. With this auto defense matrix, you can trade into the Razormaw, go with the Pyromancer with the secret, clean that up, and if Nordavind want to take care of that Pyromancer, they have to attack in, and unfortunately, it's an auto defense matrix.
Nope. Not happening.
Nope. Denied.
Now, look at how much card draw is in Nordavind's hand right now. They can draw 11 cards with this hand as a hunter.
Yeah. And that's also a good thing that makes this deck really good. The card draw, the cycle. You draw 6 cards, you draw 5 more cards, and then eventually, once you run out of steam, once again, you'll draw into your Rexar or your Zul'jin, since those are the only cards left in your deck because they aren't beasts or they aren't secrets. So inevitably, once you run out of steam, you have the refill, which is really nice. The Zul'jin got printed for Hunter because it was something they were lacking real late game.
Yeah, Zul'jin is just such a ridiculous kind of power swing. Especially if you have things like Master's Call on it, where it not only does stuff to the board, it draws you cards and gets you resources for future turns. And then you can just play Deathstalker Rexar on top of that and start generating infinite value as well. So
compare that card to Arcane Intellect. This card draws 3. And specific cards. Arcane Intellect draws 2 random cards. That's the difference. People were playing Arcane Intellect. They thought that card was good. Now you look at Master's Call.
Master's Call is insanely powerful.
Insane. Drawing 3 cards for 3 mana? Value.
Now, do you think there's any merit to coining out any of these beasts like this mole? I think there probably is.
Yeah, I think the mole pretty good. It survives on board. And not allowing you to go Crackling Razormaw and Scavenging Hyena next turn, or just trade into another 1/1. Because this is Even Paladin, they're going to make a load of these 1/1s. So you just gotta use this Diamol as a dude killer, most likely, in the future turns.
Yeah, I think what we're seeing for, like, Nordavind are playing this matchup very differently to how Ensa work, because I think they're being afforded the luxury of doing that by the hand they've been dealt. When you have double Master's Call and Subject 9, you can take things a bit more slowly, because you've got such fantastic reach going into the late game. You're much more likely to draw into things like Zul'jin and Rexar. You've got time to draw into Spellstones, and eventually, with so much value in your hand, they can probably just think, we're going to run this Even Paladin out of stuff. As Even Paladin, its big weakness is just the fact that it has no card draw. It doesn't have a way of generating value.
Yeah, definitely. Like, unlike the last game, where we saw Ents with the Spellstone start, we have the entirely opposite way to play the deck. You basically have the Beast start. You take control of the board and never let it go. This turn, however, 2 flanking strikes in hand. They're pretty hard to get use of, because they're quite high mana costed. 4 mana for an aggro deck is quite a high amount of mana. You can't really fit in 4 mana cards in most turns. So I'd like to see probably a flanking strike come down. It's also very good here. Takes care of a minion, your Dynamo takes care of a dude, and it forces the ooze to basically trade into it. Maybe they can take the value trade, but I think that's probably a bit too risky.
Yeah, but there is still the option of the True Silver Champion to take out this 3/3, and the ooze can take care of the 1/2. But that could just be met with a second flanking strike.
Yep. True Silver is definitely a very nice card in general against most minion-based decks. Just takes care of 2 minions, which
it's just
could potentially mean 2 wasted turns. Basically 2 for 1 in a card.
The classic response to most Hunter decks has just always been, I'll just play True Silver Champion.
Mm-hmm.
They roll Misha,
2 minions dealt
True
with.
Silver.
Nice.
It's also like the real reason why even Paladin does quite so well against Odd Rogue in particular. It's just True Silver Champion.
I also very like this hero power. It means that going into turn 6, we have 2 targets for the Spirit Steed, and it's very hard for Hunter unless they have the Springport in this exact scenario, or like the Candle Shot, plus the flanking strike to actually deal with both of these. We can try Master's Call into the Springport just to clean both these minions up, denying the Spirit Steed, but it also means your own turn's very weak. You're not developing anything. You're giving, basically, you're passing the turn back to Ents, but they do draw 2 additional cards if they hit the Springport. So
yeah, I think I'd like to go for the Master's Call here, because again, it's just playing into this game plan of just take it slow and just grind it out. You don't really want to deny a Spikerid Steed target going into turn 6, as like if there's no minion on the board, even Paladin doesn't really have very powerful turn 6 plays.
yeah, basically this Gen Greymane's actually pretty good. Like sometimes Gen Greymane's just stuck in your hand, but in this scenario, it's definitely a very good started minion to play down turn 6. Just a 6 mana 6/5, like it's very beefy. How do you deal with it? It's only kill command, but unfortunately, Nord do have that kill command since they cycle through so much of their deck. They're bound to draw one of these nice removal cards eventually. Just comparing totals, 21 cards left in deck for Ents, 16 cards left for Norderwind. On 5 more cards, basically just both the Master's Calls. That's the only difference, and that Companion's actually a really big pickup because it allows for the Companion plus the kill command going down. Perfect mana utilization. Misha, it's average, I'd say. Probably Hoffer in this scenario would be the better one because there is a True Silver Champion up, meaning you do 4 more damage, but can't be said about Misha.
You do always want to get Huffer when you're facing that True Silver Champion, but it's still going to do 4 damage ultimately.
Yep, gets rid of the True Silver as well. Meaning these hyenas, double hyena, could be a big threat if we get another Springport down.
But the auto defense mage is going to do his best to Just try and make sure that does not happen. And Nordvend don't actually have a good way of dealing with this Corpse Taker.
Yeah, they could go Subject 9, but they only draw 4 secrets. Not even
And they
getting the
will
full
burn.
value out of it.
Yeah, and then they will burn a secret as well if they do that. Because it doesn't stop drawing if your hand is full, unfortunately, for them. So they could burn one of the better ones, but looks like they're actually just going to go for it.
Yeah, and this Spider Steed coming down next turn for Hence is really big. Because there's no answer in the hand of Nordwind right now. They're basically finishing their deck and trying to dig for maybe an answer. Maybe that's one of their decision-making points for playing down the Subject 9.
So now they're just going to think about which of these secrets do they play. The Snake Trap has been burnt, so Ents are going to be fully aware of that being removed from the possibility pool. So they're actually going to play Explosive Trap, just try to kind of bait out a response from Ensa before they play even more secrets on the following turn. And
It's
yeah,
quite
like
nice.
They've been through the deck so much, there are now only 9 cards remaining in this Hunter deck.
The Explosive Trap takes away the Divine Shield, so if they potentially pick up like the Hunter's Mark, you won't have to get through that Divine Shield anymore, meaning the next turn could be like Tundra Rhino, Hunter's Mark, and one of your beasts. Maybe your Crackling Razormaw, maybe Hyena. Probably Crackling Razormaw, you trade that in and hopefully you hit like a health buff on the Tundra Rhino and hope it sticks. But they're really going to be looking for that Hunter's Mark. But still, it's only a 1 in 9.
We're going to see the Spike Steed come down to just deal as much damage as humanly possible here. Get a full 10 to the face.
Yeah, I think at this point, as Ents, you can't really play the value game, so you can't afford to take this value trade because you're so far behind on cards. Your opponent has 10 cards, you have 3 cards, you're never winning the game late. You just have to hope that they can't clear the Corpse Taker with like this Crackling Razormaw, since it is the second one. Hope they don't roll the Poisonous and